But deep down inside, I knew that was not the answer. Sometimes the answer is right in front of you. So I have alluded to the fact that within the past 7 months, my life has changed so much. And I told you guys I was going to tell you what happened, what I learned, how I healed. And so I decided to finally do a video about it. So I'm just going to get right into it. I'm going to try not to make this video long-winded, but there is a message behind what I am going to tell you guys. First thing I want to say is that one thing I learned is that healing does not have to look like going to therapy, journaling, going to church every single Sunday, praying every day, all day. Healing takes so many different and shapes. It does not look the exact same every single time. You will learn things about yourself, about your past, about your trauma, about your personality, and you will grow from it however way it shows up. So I kind of talked a little bit about this topic in my most recent video where I talked about how being off my phone has changed my life a lot. So if you want, you can go back to the video to get a little bit more context, but I'm going to go deeper, so you don't have to watch that video. But let's just get right into it. So I'm going to go way back. So I graduated high school in 2018. And all I knew was that I wanted to help people. Like, that's all I knew I wanted to do for my career. So I decided to go to school. I went to college to be a math teacher because I was really great at math. I was always in the top of my class when it came to math in high school, and I loved to teach as well. Like, I loved explaining and showing people, how to do the different formulas and things of that nature. So I loved it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to be a math teacher. So I went to college, and in my first semester, I had to teach a middle school class, and I was like, absolutely not. So my first semester of college, freshman year, that December, I changed my major to pre-law with a minor in political science because I was like, well, let's go be a lawyer because, like I said, all I knew was that I wanted to help people, but I didn't want to be a doctor or a nurse. I just knew that that path wasn't for me. I still stand behind that to this day. So cool. Then my second semester studying pre-law and political science, absolutely hated it. I did not like political science. I do not like politics. That's just me. Like, it just doesn't interest me. It doesn't get me moving. I don't feel passionate about it. So then I was like, well, last resort is social work. So the ending of my freshman year, I changed my major to social work, and I finished my degree in social work. And I loved it because I love to learn about like psychology and mental health, trauma, things of that nature. But my senior year, I went through a period where one, I went on my own healing journey, but two, I was still at a crossroads when it came to what I wanted to do in my career. I thought about doing different things like being a clinical psychologist, being a mental health nurse. Like, I was trying out all these different things on top of knowing that I wanted to own a business. I wanted to work for myself. I didn't want to work for anybody. So I tried different business ventures. I tried out being a lash tech. I took a lash class and I did lashes for a little bit, literally less than like a year, maybe even 6 months. And it was cool, but I wasn't passionate enough about it. It was too tedious for me, and it's not something that I enjoy doing. I just liked having that free time and not having to go to a job, but I wasn't fulfilled doing it. It's something that I dreaded doing. So throughout my senior year, I'm just trying out different things. I'm doing a lot of research, and I was an advanced honor student, so I was automatically in the Masters of Social Work program. So I started that as soon as I finished undergrad in May. I went into my Masters in Social Work in June, and I only did the summer semester. After the summer semester, I quit. One, because once again, I was at a crossroads. I didn't know if that's really what I wanted to do, and I was debt free when I graduated undergrad, but then when I went into grad school, I went in debt. So throughout all this time, I also started my fitness journey. So I became really, really passionate about health and wellness. I was working out, I was eating healthy, meal prepping, I was showing people around me how to do it, my family, my boyfriend slash husband now. Like, I was really invested into like this whole health and wellness thing. So I was showing that on YouTube as well. I had started a YouTube channel like 2018. I was doing my natural hair on YouTube, and then once I got into college and I started getting into wellness and fitness, I started doing travel vlogs, and then I started doing fitness vlogs. And so that is like all I was doing on my YouTube channel, and that's kind of like what was taking up a lot of my time outside of school. So cool. I graduated, started my master's, but as I was doing my master's, I was also doing this YouTube channel. I was also working as a social worker, case manager. The job was too difficult for me. I did not like it. I did not like what I was doing. It was not how I wanted to help people. If you know, you know. I'm not going to go into that whole spiel, but just know case management was not for me. So I did that for about 6 months. I started July, and I believe I left in like November, so it really was like 5 months. Left that job and went into, okay, I'm going to get my personal training certification. So I left that job and I worked as a hostess at a restaurant. So I worked at a hostess at a restaurant, and I started my course with NASM to become a personal trainer. That took me about 6 months to do. But the job I was working at, I was not making enough money. I think I was making like $200 to $300 a week. So that was not good. So then I left that job in like February, but I'm still working on my personal training certification. And I went and worked for this MRI center. I did like intake work. So I was on computers doing emails, phone calls, things of that nature. I worked there for about 8 or 9 months. It was a terrible company, terrible management. It was bad, but I was able to finish my certification, and I started my personal training business. I had an LLC. I had a business name. I had website, all the things. So started my business as a personal trainer, and I was so eager to do it full time. And I started making impulse decisions, and so this is where the toxic cycles come in. So I would quit the job. I quit the job where I was at the MRI center. And I was personal training before I would go to work and after I go to work. And I live in Atlanta. So that was insane because the traffic was crazy. It was crazy. So then I left that job and I went to work for a corporate wellness company where I was a personal trainer. And then I started doing like part-time work. I would work 4 to 7 Monday through Friday. So I had a consistent schedule, but I also was personal training like before and after work from clients that I gained from Instagram and TikTok. So I had a pretty nice clientele, but I still was not making good money like whatsoever because I had all these business expenses, and I still had bills to pay, and I wasn't charging a whole lot of money for my clients. So then I was working at the corporate health job. I probably did that for about a year and a half. Okay, now let's get into 2025. So I had clients in person, but I started migrating some of my clients to online coaching. So once we did online coaching, that's when I started to feel like this may not be what I want to do full time for the rest of my life. Like I don't feel passionate enough about it. And it's not that I don't know, like I have different feelings about that, but like I could just tell that like it was slowly drifting away from me and it was time for me to let it go. But I still made a irrational decision, an impulse decision, and I just like first I went part-time because I accepted a full-time position as a wellness, I think I was a wellness coach at this corporate wellness job because it was a big company where we had multiple locations, so I could go to different locations and I was teaching classes, I was personal training, I would sub hours whenever people would call out or when they would go out of town or whatever. But then I took on a full-time position at one location, and I did it from July till about January 2025. January 2025, then I went part-time. So from January up until last summer in June, I went part-time, but I should have stayed part-time until I found a job. Because at this point, I have little to no clients. But because I was so ready to leave that job, because I was bored, it was so boring, it just wasn't exciting. It wasn't keeping me busy. It was just dragging my feet. It was just not, it's not how I wanted to spend my time. I just quit. And so I didn't quit. I did a 2 weeks notice, but I left in June. So from June to August, I was looking for a job, but I also lost all my clientele. And so I was basically having to do DoorDash, which I was familiar with. I had done it in college. I did DoorDash. I started doing Uber Eats. I was doing all of that the whole summer to make money to pay my bills and just to, have some income coming in, because I don't believe in not ever having income coming in. So I was doing it, in the mornings, lunchtime, in the evening, every single day, about 5 or 6 days a week. I was treating it like a job. I was doing it consistently. But, it puts a lot of wear and tear on your car. It's very exhausting driving all the time. I'm not someone who likes to drive. And it's time consuming for you to get a little return. But, it was still making me money, so I was still doing it. So then I really came to terms with myself and was like, girl, like, you keep doing the same thing over and over again. Like, you keep starting things. Because, like, this started when I was in college. Like, I would start things. I would be consistent with it. And then I would be like, nope, this isn't it. Make a switch. And I would do that over and over again. But the issue was that I would put myself in predicaments to where I would have to start over with my savings account. I was using my credit card, for my everyday expenses. I was just like not stable. That's the whole foundation of this, is that I was not building stability whatsoever. And I believe that it was great for me to do certain things during this time because I learned a lot about myself. I learned what I do like and what I don't like when it comes to work. But it just wasn't healthy because I was in this toxic cycle of just being unstable and having to start over. And the toxic part was that I would continue to tell myself, it's okay to start over. And I remember during last summer, I had to clean out my savings to, make sure that I'm buying the groceries and I'm able to pay my bills. I would tell myself, it's okay to start over. It's nothing wrong with starting over. And I would give that advice out to people around me because they would hate the idea of having to start over. And I would say, it's okay. It's normal. It's nothing wrong with it. But yes and no. It's okay to start over. But at the same time, if you want to live a certain life, if you want stability, if you want a strong foundation, you have to have a baseline. So that's where I'm at in life now, where I am creating a baseline for myself of no matter what, I cannot make any decisions if that means that I'm going to have to go under this certain number. And so the whole summer I was looking for a job. Like I said in my last video, I have been looking for a job on my degree because at this point I'm I don't really know what I want to do. But I just thought about it. Let me backtrack. So 2024, when I was working for the corporate wellness job, I decided to go back to school because, mind you, I dropped out of the first master's program in social work. So then I went for another master's to becoming a PE teacher because, once again, I'm passionate about fitness and wellness. I think it'd be great to have my hands on a new generation and be able to, teach the kids about health and wellness and things of that nature. So I was and honestly, I got the idea from a coworker who said she was doing it. So I'm like, you know what, that's a good idea. We'll be off during the holidays so I can travel and things of that nature. So all these things sounded so good to me. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So I started my master's in the PE teacher program. I did it for maybe 3 months and then I dropped out. So that caused me to go in even more debt. So I was just making these decisions out of emotion, out of not knowing, out of not having all the answers. And it was just putting me in this toxic cycle because guess what? Last year during the summertime, me still trying to figure it out. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's next for me. Because my YouTube channel is not going anywhere at this time, but I also wasn't consistent with it. Sometimes I would be consistent. Sometimes I would post, a few times a week, and then I would go a couple of months without posting. More of the story is I wasn't consistent, but I knew that I wanted to build a brand and build a community on social media. So that's something that I have been consistent with since 2018. Overall, have I been consistent when it comes to the fact that I haven't seen a lot of fruits of it? No, but it's to the point where I know that this is something that I love to do, no matter if I'm seeing fruits or not, because I just love teaching people and sharing my experiences and helping people in any way I can on this digital space. So anyways, during the summer, I was like lost and like just not knowing what I wanted to do, how I wanted to help people. So I decided to go back to school again to get my master's in social work to become a therapist, because therapy is something that I've always thought about doing, because I love talking to people. I love talking about trauma and mental health and things of that nature. So I applied to a program, I got accepted, and I was supposed to start this coming up this coming up June. But I actually decided I'm not going to do it because, like I said, well, I'm going to get to it, but I realized that I keep doing the same thing over and over again, and it's not making sense for me and the life that I want to live, nor is it bringing me any stability, and I'm just making very irrational decisions. So I applied to the program, I got in. Okay, comes August, I finally found a job. Now, I'm going to be 100% transparent with you guys, because I've been telling y'all that I got a job and haven't told you guys where the job is. So, I work at Chick-fil-A. So, story time on that. When I was in undergrad, in high school, I worked many different jobs. I was able to learn about myself. And that's why I said it's okay to start over in certain aspects. Not really starting over, but it's okay to try new things. I really believe in trying things, because the world will push things on you and tell you what you like, what you don't like, but we are all so different and so unique. You got to do what works best for you and a lifestyle that you want to live. So I worked many different jobs. I did retail, I worked as a pharmacy tech, I worked in fast food, I worked in grocery stores. Like, I've done it all. Just to name a few jobs, I've worked at Forever 21, I've worked at Walmart in the I worked in a pharmacy at Walmart and in the auto store as a cashier and appointment setter. What else have I worked? I've worked at Crystals, I've worked at Bojangles, I've worked at Walgreens, I had a lot of work study jobs, one work from home, one in the little grocery stores. I've worked at a grocery store called Food City. I've worked at Publix. I've worked at multiple different places, and this was all, like I said, undergrad / when I was in high school. What I learned about myself is I thrive in fast-paced environments. I do not do well when I sit at jobs. When I'm sitting, when I'm on a computer screen, when I am not able to move out of one space, I do not do well in those type of spaces. So, like I said, I had been trying to find a social work job. I had multiple interviews. Nothing came about. And then me and my husband were just joking. I was like, I'm just finna apply at Chick-fil-A, because there was a Chick-fil-A by my house that was hiring. And I went online and I joked about it, and I saw how much they made, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. But then a couple of more weeks went by. I'm still looking for a job. And my husband was like, girl, you better apply at Chick-fil-A, because it said they were hiring. I ended up applying at a different location. I applied at a couple locations, but this specific location where I work at now, they reached out to me maybe the same day or the next day. And what was so unique about this situation is that the location that I had applied to was shut down for renovation, and they were about to reopen that following week. So I had an interview with the hiring manager. She called me and she hired me on the spot based on our conversation. We had a really good conversation. She hired me. I got started. And I was a little embarrassed with myself. I was really down on myself, like, what the heck? Like, working at Chick-fil-A, like, I done put in all this time into my business, into career, and into myself, my inner work, and now I'm going to work at Chick-fil-A. Like, I was down on myself, but at the same time, I'm like, the bills got to get paid. Like, I need money. I need to take care of myself. So I'm going to get a job, and I wanted to support my husband. Like, luckily, like I said, I was finding ways to make money doing Uber and DoorDash and things of that nature, so he wasn't having to, like, 100% take over all of my bills, like when it comes to my car and things of that nature. But, like, I still wanted to support more in other ways. So I needed more money, and I wanted to, like, not clean out my savings, which I did, and I had my own financial goals. So anyways, applied, got the job. I started at a great time. It was like the right time. What they say? Right time, right place. Like, I literally started where they were starting from scratch. They only had directors. They had no other leaders, maybe one other leader. And they were looking to pour into people to move into higher level positions. And so I was promoted within 2 months. into being a shift leader, and it was such an amazing experience. I learned so much about myself. This is when I realized I'm a great leader. I love to lead. I love to have my hands on people and help them to grow and change and see things from a business perspective. That's something that I'm really working on now with the staff. And now this month I just started training to move up to an even higher level position, to one of the director positions. And I'm very excited. It's so fulfilling to me. I'm in a fast-paced environment. I'm learning so much about leadership, about life, about people, about customer service, and it is so, so fulfilling. Not to mention the fact I'm off every Sunday. Also, not to mention the fact that I'm not on a strict routine. And that's something that I also struggle with jobs. I do not do well in like 9 to 5 corporate positions. Like I just can't. Like, I need a job where I can have flexibility, where some days I may work late, some days I work early. Like, today is Friday and I'm off work. Is it like that every week? No, but I'm off on a Friday. I'm recording this video. I'm about to go to the grocery store. I'm about to come back home and relax for a few hours before cooking. Like, I have more freedom to do things that I want to do. And I'm able to leave stress at work. Like, I don't bring any of that stuff home. So it's like I'm working a job that truly aligns with my lifestyle right now. But the moral of the story is that I also realized when I got this job, this is the perfect opportunity for you to sit your tail down and build some stability. I have nothing that I'm working towards regarding career, like, oh, trying to hit certain milestones by a certain age, get certain positions by a certain age, trying to get certain degrees. Like, I am like at the point in my life where I am just in alignment. I am just letting things flow to me. I'm working on things outside of here. Like, I started my Faceless Finance page, something that I've been passionate about for years, something that I've been wanting to do for years. Now I have the freedom and the resources to do it. I am still on YouTube. I've been posting a lot more consistently since I started this job. Like I said, I work a lot, but I also have a lot more freedom to do the things that I really want to do because I'm not bringing home any other stress, and my schedule is so flexible. Tomorrow I work 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's a Saturday, but like I'm done for my day at 1 p.m. But next week I close Friday and Saturday, but like earlier in the week I work earlier. So it's like I get to play around with my schedule. It doesn't look the same every week, but I still have my foundations when it comes to working out, meal prepping, getting my sleep in, things of that nature. So I've been able to create a life that makes sense for me, that allows me to build stability. Now I'm reaching financial goals faster. I'm not just stressed out anymore about career and what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just allowing God to use me how I'm supposed to be used. And let me tell you, my directors and my operator, they're so grateful for me because I've come into a position where I am really helping the business to grow, really being a good leader and having a positive influence on my staff and the culture of our restaurant. And I treat any job I work like a business. Like, it might not be my business, but it's a business, and I'm gonna treat it like it's my business. And that's what's allowing me to move up and have these great opportunities. And Chick-fil-A is a wonderful company to work for. I am looking forward to a lot of the opportunities that are going to come my way because I plan to stay there for a while. I don't want to give myself any more timelines anymore. I need to do certain things by a certain age. Only thing I'm focused on when it comes to timelines is paying off that student loan debt. Luckily, it's not a lot. I will be able to have it paid off by the time I turn 28. I'm 25 right now. I'll be 26 in a couple months. But I realize it's time to get out of that toxic cycle of always chasing, always trying to have all the answers, always trying to have clarity, and also making impulse decisions off of emotion and off of what I think my life is supposed to look like. And it took this situation to happen for me to realize it. But that's why I said healing looks so different, because I feel like I have healed a lot when it comes to making impulse decisions and living in instability. And it took me having to go back to ground zero, go back to the bottom for me to realize my own self, my own flaws, my own traumas, and my own ways of thinking that was really creating more chaos in my life. And now I feel so much more grounded, still feeling that freedom, still feeling more at peace, but still having clarity in the sense of I'm doing something that is fulfilling. I'm doing something that makes sense for my lifestyle, but I'm also not overly worried about what my life is supposed to look like. So no, I'm not afraid to tell people, yes, I work at Chick-fil-A. I work for an amazing company, and it's allowing me to grow in so many ways. What I want you guys to get from this video is that you have to get out of your own way. You have to sometimes take a step back and pay attention to your habits, your systems, your cycles that you continue to repeat, and realize that sometimes you might be in your own way and you are not allowing God to use you. I know for a fact the reason why I was so unstable is because that is how I was raised. I was raised in a very unstable environment. We moved a lot. I changed schools a lot. I was not having any strong foundations when it comes to stability. And so I think that carried into my adult life, my young adult life. But I'm so grateful that it happened now. It happened while I'm 25. While I'm, fresh in my marriage, and we're both figuring out things, we're both healing in our own ways and healing together. So I'm grateful for it. It's not something that I'm mad about, but it's something that I really wanted to talk about and acknowledge, because it really completely changed the way I view life, the way I view myself. And like I said, one of the main cycles was going back to school. I kept thinking that that was the answer. Oh, I'm getting a master's in social work. Oh, I'm gonna get a master's in becoming a PE teacher. Oh, I'm gonna get a master's in therapy. But deep down inside, I knew that was not the answer. Sometimes the answer is right in front of you. And I can tell you right now, it's so weird because I'm so excited to go to work tomorrow. Like, I'm at a point where like this job that I'm going to, like, of course, at the end of the day, I do want my own business, and it's something that I am going to build over time, but it's not something that I'm just pressed to do anymore because I want to chase this. I want to be free. I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to work for nobody. Like, okay, that's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. You can't control everything, and it's better for you to go slow and controlled and learn yourself. Learn some of those patterns that you have that won't serve you in the future. Learn those toxic mindsets, and also learn some of your ways of thinking and being, like how I kept making impulse decisions off of emotion. I had to come to terms with that and be like, okay, was that a wise choice, or was that an impulsive decision? Were you just reacting, or were you being proactive? And those were the questions that I really had to sit and ask myself last summer when I was looking for a job and really just looking at my life like, what am I doing? And sometimes you got to sit down and be like, girl, what are you doing? Like, sometimes it don't even take other people saying it to you. It takes you to look at yourself and look in the mirror and be like, I am the problem. And it's okay to say that. Like, this doesn't mean that you're a bad person. This doesn't mean that your life is ruined. It just means that you need to take a step back and realize that sometimes you bend your own way, and sometimes you bend your head too much, or you're trying to do things too quickly. And that's what I had to realize. I am a very goal-driven person. I am a goal-oriented person. But that can sometimes have its downfalls because you're always chasing something. You're always trying to reach certain goals and accomplish things. But now I'm taking a step back and just being like, I'm letting things flow. I'm becoming 1% better each day. I know you guys have been hearing that term, but truly, you just take it one day at a time instead of trying to reach certain timelines by a certain timeline. Like, somebody asked me right now, when you buying a house? I don't know. That's not even something that I'm worried about. What does your credit look like? I can't even tell you. I do know what it is, but it's not something that I'm overly concerned about because that's something that I'll need later on in life. Yes, I'm making sure that I don't have any credit card debt, which I don't. I'm not taking out loans. I'm paying off my student loans. I'm paying down my car loan. I'm taking those small steps towards, building my credit, but I'm not overly trying to beat these clocks and these timelines that the world has put onto us. And I feel so much more free. I'm able to really enjoy my time, really be present, spending time with my husband, spending time with my family. And I love where I work because guess what? I can take off anytime I want. I don't have to question it. Only thing that may come into play is if me and one other leader is trying to take off for the same exact time, which is very rare to happen. You just got to make sure you do it first. But like outside of that, I can take off when I want. If I want to take off next week, I can. Like I said, I'm off on Sunday, so I can always look forward to that. I know for a fact I'm not working every single day of the week. I can plan things. Like, I just love that I have a job that aligns with my lifestyle and it allows for my personality when it comes to me being a leader, me wanting to be in a fast-paced environment, me not wanting to sit down all day, me being able to operate like a business, because Chick-fil-A is a business and we work closely with the operator and he's always bringing insights when it comes to business. So as I'm there, I'm learning how to operate a business and I can take some of those principles to my own business. So I'm just at a point where I'm like, I just want to learn. I just want to learn and I just want to grow. I want to get out of my head. I want to stop chasing and I just want to start attracting things to myself, being myself and allowing things to flow. And that is what my experience has been since I started at Chick-fil-A, and it has truly been life-changing and it has allowed me to be in a flow. So message of today is to get out of your own way, take a step back, recognize your patterns, your impulse decisions, and really sit with yourself and figure out where you are going wrong. What decisions do you keep making over and over again? And realize that you can heal in different ways. For me, I feel like healing in this case was just making a choice to let go and accept what's new. I had to accept my fate and be like, listen, you want a job? It don't matter what the job is, you're just going to do it. I applied at Chick-fil-A, I got the job, and look what it's turned into, and look what it's going to turn into. I'm just so excited to see where I go on this journey and other companies that I may end up working for later on in life because of the skills that I've learned here at Chick-fil-A. Those are the things that I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about going back to school. I'm not thinking about what business I'm going to start. I started my finance page. That's something that I'm passionate about and I'm pouring into it and I feel so aligned, and that is what I'm focused on right now and for the next couple of years, and I'm just so blessed to be in this position. So I hope you guys can take something from this video. I hope that I can inspire somebody to do what their heart desires, but also heal from those patterns that aren't serving you or are no longer serving you and are essentially just holding you back. Comment what you think about this video in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video.